Good morning, friends. This is Sagar here, and today we have Yashni Kothari, founder of El Panio, if I pronounce it correctly.
It's actually El Paño,
Okay, okay,
which is a Spanish term, and it stands for the cloth, the fabric.
great. So I have known Yashni since last 4 years, and she has been into multiple ventures, working closely in the fashion domain, trying to help B2B businesses, B2C businesses. So during the course of the conversation, we would discuss more about it. And she also is a faculty at NIFT. Great that you have been in the fashion domain and have been also helping the community. So I think it's a good learning exercise for them as well as for you.
For me, definitely.
Yes. So you just mentioned about El Panio, if this is the correct pronunciation. What made how did you choose that name, and how is it impacting businesses?
So, El Paño basically stands for, like I said, fabric, the fabric in Spanish. And we are a fabric innovation company, and we believe in innovating with fabric and trying to work with different materials, trying to make things more sustainable. But at the same time, also because like you're looking at the commercial side of things, we are trying to establish ourselves as a garment manufacturing firm. So we specialize in t-shirts, we specialize in sports jerseys, we do caps, we do hoodies, and everything is mostly B2B, so that we can take bulk orders, and we do from end to end we do branding for them. So we like to call ourselves um, from fabric to fit, so everything from like the fabric selection, customization, consulting in terms of different kinds of fabrics, the technicalities of fabrics. So we help clients, we sit down with them and we discuss the brief, and from that stage we go on to the design stage. So our speciality is about communicating. So I come from a fashion communication background, and what we do is we understand from the client the context of the product and where is it going to be used, what is the brand. So, for example, we had DY Patil as a client, and DY Patil is a pretty prestigious institute. So we designed something for them which sort of reminds you of the Howard hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we sit down with them and we understand the context and what brand philosophy they believe in, and we communicate that through the design and the final garment.
Lovely. So, entrepreneurship in India has been in the people's mind in the last 5 6 years. Like a lot of young generation, like so-called. I mean, I'm also including you and me in that generation. There's a lot happening, right? And as technology startups, or as any, for that matter, any industry, what are the challenges that you might have faced, or in general people face as fashion entrepreneurs? Could you just share with the folks?
So one of the challenges that we faced in being in the fashion space is it's very crowded.
Okay.
There are lots of different players in the market, and that's one thing. So, getting people to notice you, getting people to trust you as a brand, that's one of the challenges. But once you get past that challenge, things tend to get smooth. So, even though El Panyo has been in existence for the last 1 year, we've already had repeat customers.
Mm-hmm.
So once they get to know you and they start trusting you as a team, as a brand, they keep coming back to you.
Okay.
So that's one of the main challenges that we faced.
Okay. So could you just share more on, if there is any fashion entrepreneur, or if there is any student or startup community or a peer group who is watching this video, how can they channelize their energies and, sort of a roadmap for their fashion startup? Could you share your thoughts here?
So my biggest piece of advice to anyone starting out in the fashion space would be, don't just focus on the fashion element so much, because entrepreneurship is more than just fashion or more than just a good product. You need to think about the market. You need to think about I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs who I have met with, and they just get so carried away with the product, and they design beautiful products, but then getting to market the products and getting them to sell the products is very difficult. So don't just focus on the product, but look at the operations, look at the logistics, look at costing, look at how you'll get your first 100 customers, for example.
So just before this interview, we were discussing on that, customizing whatever product or services according to the needs, rather than focusing on demand creation. So what's your thought on that?
So in my case, I've been lucky because the kind of product that I'm making, there is some demand for it. So what we essentially do is we do branding on apparel. So say a cosmetic company is launching and they want uniforms for their staff. So then we do branding for them. So Benefit Cosmetics launched in India recently, and we've done all their staff uniforms. So everyone at Sephora, for example, at the benefit stall, they're wearing our t-shirts. So
So, as you mentioned, that obviously most of the domains are really crowded, and fashion, which changes with time. Every 24 hours, 1 week, new things come up, and holding on to same stakeholders and same partners is difficult.
correct.
So, in this environment, how do you build that rapport with B2B business partners, stakeholders, and sail through the journey? That you share that insight.
So, the good thing about the B2B space is that the customer wants what the customer wants. But at the same time, the fashion element does come into the picture. We have to keep constantly innovating. So we can't keep doing the same designs for a sports club, for example. So that's why we have a very diverse team. We have in-house designers who, keep working on constantly changing the look and feel, use different color palettes. So we try to keep updating ourselves as much as possible, and we also work with different techniques of manufacturing. So, for example, we do screen printing, and then we do heat transfer prints, and then if the customer wants something more funky, we could maybe offer glow in the dark print.
Correct, correct.
So, as and when there's an opportunity, we try and differentiate.
Yeah. So you mentioned about the fashion communication part in the beginning, right? So how do you use those insights and those learnings to build that rapport? So that so sometimes I've seen that there are a lot of fashion professionals who are really skilled, but then because of the communication skills or because of that timely follow-ups or something which is like a which creates a win-win situation for everyone. How do you do that, and how is the process? So that might help other fashion entrepreneurs. Could you share?
So, the way fashion communication as a background has helped me is because I used to be a student and then I became an entrepreneur. Now I am also teaching. I'm visiting faculty. So I've seen the same concept from three different angles, which is what helps me even in my entrepreneurial journey. As a fashion communication professional, I understand how certain colors communicate certain things, which other vendors don't understand. So we see that as our USP and that as our value added proposition. So with our clients, we've actually experienced where our clients were unhappy with other vendors because they don't have that sort of a design skill, whereas we try to use our design knowledge to make more impactful designs, for example.
Yeah, that's really a very good insight, and I think it is really important to be consultative in nature, and I think that sort of shapes up your professional journey because I think it's all about Yashni's point. If I were to just briefly elaborate on that, is just addressing the insecurities of your client or of your
Correct.
potential partners, and if that happens, then that really adds value. So I think that is sort of helping you shape up the partnerships, and I think that is what even I have learned here. So moving forward, there are a lot of fashion professionals from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, and if they were to enter into a competitive market like say Bombay, Delhi, or the globe, so how do they do that, and what advice would you give to them so that they can build themselves in this domain?
You said fashion professors.
Professionals.
Professionals, okay. With fashion professionals from tier 2 and tier 3 cities, it's actually even better for them because they come from a different perspective and they look at things differently. But regardless of where you are from, I would say that don't lose focus and try to find something that's very niche and just keep doing that. So there are so many businesses out there that are doing graphic t-shirts, for example, or there are so many fashion brands out there, new fashion labels. But don't try to do everything, just focus on one thing and keep at it, and eventually success will come to you.
Okay. So sometimes it is difficult to choose a career,
Right.
and that too a space which is say entertainment or fashion,
Right.
or so sometimes maybe their parents may not want them to build it. We are lucky that we have been lucky enough to have parents and people around us who have created an ecosystem, and sometimes these people don't have their ecosystem also.
Correct.
So, how do one educate, like as a fashion enthusiast or a fashion startup? How can one educate themselves or be in sync with what is happening around? What is the advice that you would like to give to keep themselves updated?
I think the only answer to that is meeting as many people as possible.
Okay.
So networking. What I
Yeah.
am today is purely because of the networking that we've done. In fact, I met you through networking.
Yeah.
So networking is very crucial, not just from a business development perspective, but it teaches you a lot. So you meet someone, you interchange views, you interchange perspectives, and that brings a lot of light
Okay.
to a lot of different things.
So journey as an entrepreneur is never easy, right? And I'm sure with the glamour part attached to it, people might perceive that he or she is a founder. So would you like to share any personal challenge that you might have faced being as an entrepreneur or being in your early childhood or college or something that shaped up you as a leader? Could you like to share that?
I think the answer to that is the fact that when you're an entrepreneur, especially in the fashion industry, yeah, there is glamour and like the way people look at you is different. But on the inside, you know that you're the founder, you're the CEO, but then you're also the intern of the company.
Wow.
So keep grounded, and there's nothing small. So like there are times when you might have to do very trivial things, like say send couriers or like call people, even cold calling. I do that even now. We've built a team, but like I we what we try to do is we try everyone that we hire, we try and keep the scale the same, so there's no hierarchy as such, and everyone is involved with everything. So you know I would think that is the main thing here.
Yeah. I think that is really important because if you are if there's a flat communication with people around, that makes them that elevates them at the
Definitely.
same time. We are working towards a final goal. So
Definitely. And
that's
everyone's on the same page then.
yeah, great. So I'm really curious to know, what is the future of El Pano that you have in your mind, and what is like a mission or vision? Where do you want to go?
So, what we're trying to do is we are establishing ourselves as the go to place for all kinds of knitwear requirements. So, like I said, t shirts, jackets, hoodies. There is a growing understanding of what knitwear is now. And a lot of brands out there, a lot of institutions, a lot of sports clubs, a lot of schools, a lot of companies, a lot of corporate gifting people are they have a requirement like this. So we're trying to establish ourselves as the go-to place for all of these products, and simultaneously we are also constantly focusing on innovation. So we are trying to do different kinds of fabrics. We're doing a lot of finishes on fabrics. everything that we do happens from root level. So, right from the yarn stage or right from the fabric stage, we try to innovate. So, for example, we are doing a range of UV resistant t-shirts, or we are currently working on a range of, like, we're trying to experiment with fabric that is mosquito repellent, which will be catered to our community of clients that come from our trekking, hiking, camping sort of a background. So, like, the core of what we do is innovation, and that's where the future is.
Okay. So, India, being it's a continent in itself, right? Like fashion might change. I don't know. I'm just assuming fashion might change every 50 kilometers or even less.
Definitely.
Correct. So, what are the opportunities? So, I know that now you specialize in a particular domain, which is great because specialization is important. That's how you build it. But there are fashion maybe bloggers. Models, or there are several elements or several aspects to fashion. So how can one leverage that geographic how can one leverage the geographic differences to their advantage?
So I haven't faced so much of this because since we're in the B2B space, usually the requirement is very universal. So we see a lot of clients who want, plain round neck t-shirts with their branding on it. So like a print on the front or an embroidery on the front. And some clients want, because the understanding is that collar t-shirts look more formal. So, like, a lot of clients want t-shirts, but then they go for formal looking t-shirts, or they go for collared t-shirts. So, like, to answer your question, we haven't really faced much of a difference in terms of what the requirement is, because everything's usually very universal.
So, what are the B2B partners you have already worked with, and how can B2B partners get in touch with you to discuss more on how can your organization help them?
So, to start with, we've done a couple of events for like jerseys for events at Garwari Club at Churchgate. So a lot of their sports events, they need players to, they have teams and they want players to look like a part of the team. So right from the concept to the design to the manufacturing was handled by us.
Okay.
So that's one example of what we've done. Like I mentioned, we've developed a range of hoodies for DY Patil. We've also done benefit cosmetic T-shirts. Aside from that, the good thing about being an online business is that geography is not a restriction. So we have clients from Delhi who, they are a retail brand and they're, selling branded t-shirts, and we manufacture those t-shirts for them. Other than that, there are a few local sports teams. So, a group of friends, they wanted to brand themselves, and we made the cricket jerseys for them. So we did that, and now we're slowly venturing into schools. So we already have 2 schools on a board, and we are developing the uniform for them. And the kind of brief we get from them is, we have to develop a uniform, a sports uniform, but at the same time, we have to make it look more international. So yeah, that's the kind of clients we work with, and like I said, networking is the.
So what I meant is, like, how do they reach out to you, like your website details or anything, or email ID? How you can
So
reach out?
we are pretty active on social media. So we have our website is under construction right now, but we have a Facebook page, we have Instagram, we have Twitter. We're also very active, on WhatsApp Business. So we have several groups where we broadcast messages. Please check it out. We're called El Pano. So elpano.in is our handle.
Okay.
And yeah, a lot of the business that we get is through word of mouth.
Okay. So thank you, Yashni. It was really nice to have you on
Thank
this
you.
platform, and thank you for sharing valuable insights on multiple questions that I asked.
Thank you.
And just before we end this conversation, you have your last 30 seconds to share something that we might have not discussed but can be of value to our viewers. Feel free to go ahead.
Um,
It could be like a thank you message, or like it could be anything.
no, thank you for having me. Thank you for the people who are looking at us, hearing us right now. It's nice to be on a platform like this and have a conversation about what I'm doing. And thank you.
No, thank you for the part that what I said is thank you to the people who have been supported, who have supported you is what I meant.
Ah.
You don't have to thank me.
No, definitely. Being an entrepreneur is difficult because you you're not really answerable to someone, and it's not a set job. So having people around you that believe in you and support you is very important. So I'd like to thank my family and my friends and my close circle, because they've constantly believed in me, and they've pushed me to keep exploring, and I've been lucky that way.
Yeah.
So thank you, and thank you to all the other people who are listening, because that's also, it's supportive in your own way.
Yeah, and I think what I would also, add on to, Yashni's thought, it is really important to, welcome and thank people around us, because today, what I personally have learned in the last few years is that it's not the business or the technology that helps. It is this people-to-people interaction, and it's more about giving and more about giving your time, your knowledge, your skills. And I think that's how that's how we shape up as an individual. And there is no harm in just calling your friend right now after this conversation and just thanking him
Yeah.
for what they have done to you or you might have done to them. So on that note, I say goodbye to all of the amazing folks, and have a great week ahead. And do check out El Panio platform, and even get in touch with Yashni or me. I can connect to her. Bye bye.
Thank you.